So I wanted to make this brief follow-up video in relationships to my previous video, YandereDev drama. So I wanted to clear up a few things in this video, and I also wanted to go into details about when I was a fan, how I found the game, and now how I feel as an ex-fan. So in my last video, there were some people that said that my video was a little vague. And the reason being is that I had to shorten up a lot of my points. I have like 4,000 pictures on my phone. I made this video on my phone. I have 4,000 pictures on my phone. And every time I tried to make the video, my phone kept telling me I didn't have enough space. I actually made the video 7 times. The first 6 times I made it, it was like over about 30 minutes. And it wouldn't save on my phone no matter what. I had to delete half of my apps and half of my photos for me to be able to save my YandereDev drama video onto my phone. I'm also making this video on my phone because I don't have editing software on my computer at the moment. So, when I first heard about Yandere Simulator, it was through a bunch of popular YouTubers that do Let's Plays. I kept seeing it on my YouTube newsfeed, and I was like, what is this game I keep seeing? What is this Yandere Simulator? So, I finally clicked on one of the Let's Plays, and I believe it was a Markiplier Let's Play. And I watched it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So I watched a couple of other YouTubers like Dashy, Pretty Grumpy Gummy Bears, and Cub Scouts. Cub Scouts is the main one that I would watch. Like, the last Yandere Simulator video I watched from him was like probably 3 or 2 weeks ago or something, because I still was like watching Let's Plays on it. I downloaded the game. I played it sometimes and told my friends about it. And I started to follow the development. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I really like the concept because I thought it was cool that YandereDev was taking anime tropes and trying to make these characters more realistic. He was trying to like make a game where Yandere seemed like a realistic thing that you can do in real life, for lack of a better wording. And so I was like, oh my god, I really like that. So I would watch all of his videos. I would get super excited when he would come out with a new video. I would tell my friends, oh, YandereDev just came out with a new video. This is so cool. This is so awesome. So I first started questioning him when he made one of those Twitch videos about how they didn't allow his game on Twitch. So the thing that made me question him was the fact that he tried to label them as SJW because he thought they just didn't want his game up there because it was killing high schoolers. So I was wondering, like, how could you just assume that Twitch is just SJWs because of their reasoning? But I mean, I still sympathized with him. I was like, oh, it's still sad that his game isn't up there. So Twitch finally responded to him and told him it was because his game wasn't a complete game yet. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that gives him hope for the future that his game is going to be back on Twitch whenever it's completed. After that, I didn't question him for a very long time. I went back to just following his game development, playing his game, watching Let's Plays because I thought it was awesome. And then one day I was at home. One of my friends sent me a link to this website called Pretty Ugly Little Liars. Now, the link she sent me wasn't really pertaining to YandereDev. It was pertaining to somebody else that we had a disagreement with. But I was looking around the website, and under the snowflake category, I saw YandereDev's name. And I was like, oh my god, what happened? So I clicked on it, and I started reading all this information about him. They talked about his past, and they talked about his present. I was mainly focused on present events, but a lot of the things he did in the past kind of crossed over to things he does now. And I mentioned some of these things in my YandereDev trauma video. So I was a little disheartened by different things he did, and I was kind of a little bit disheartened about the fact that he has a hard time coding. Although I was disheartened about this information, I still followed him. And this was like 3 months ago when I first found this information out, I still followed him. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to give him another chance. I was still subscribed to him. I'm actually still subscribed to him on his YouTube channel. So I watched the rest of his videos. I watched some more Cub Scouts play his videos and stuff. I thought it was like Let's Plays. I thought it was like really cool still. So then more drama started to circulate with YandereDev, like that rise and fall of YandereDev. Eventually I ended up watching it because I kept seeing it pop up on my YouTube. A lot of the information was stuff I had already knew from the Pretty Ugly Little Liars website. But then they had a lot of other things on there where they were discussing how he didn't protect certain fans. So not fans, but he didn't protect certain volunteers who had art and they wanted their art to be protected. And there was a couple other things he did that was pretty horrible. I kind of got into detail about it on my YandereDev drama video. And I was just so disappointed. I was just like, how can someone be like this? And then he ended up disabling his YouTube comments. And he came out with that Where's Osana video. And after that, he came out with the how long does it take to make a video game. At this point, I had just completely given up on him. Like, I was like, I just can't give him any more chances and stuff. Like, I actually really finally gave up on him about 2 weeks ago or so. Like, prior to that, I was losing hope. I thought my hope was going to come back. It's just completely gone. Just out of the window. And I was just like, how could he just be like this? Like, yeah, I know he re-enabled his comments, but it almost feels as if you can't talk to him or ask him, like, genuine questions about different things. About the game development. Or he's going to get mad at you. Or just delete your comment. Or just brush you to the side. Like, it's just very upsetting. And on top of that, it's upsetting that he doesn't handle certain things maturely. Like, his apology just really felt like he was just blaming other people for his actions. Especially since some of the actions he does as a person is bad. Now, if he just was like having a coding problem or something, I wouldn't be hard on him. I would be like, well, he needs help with his coding and stuff. But because of some of the stuff that he has done, and stuff that he is still doing as a person, I'm having a hard time to support him or feel compassion for him. Like, it's very disheartening. Like, when you were a fan of something and the person who is creating the game or whatever you're a fan of ends up being a horrible person. This kind of reminds me of the Ronan Kenshin incident where the creator ended up being a pedophile. A lot of fans were very, very upset because Ronan Kenshin was a part of their childhood and the creator did something that was very taboo, like liking kids and stuff and saying he liked little kids. It kind of like rips a certain part of your heart out in a sense. I might be getting a little bit dramatic, but it really hurts me when stuff like that happens. Like when the creator ends up being a horrible person themselves. It's just really, really disheartening. And another thing that gets me is the people who are still fans of him that attack you thinking that you're just some random hater on the internet who just likes drama. They don't think for a second, maybe this person was a fan of this game at one point. I was a fan of the game. I liked YandereDev at one point. I used to think he was a cool individual until I started finding out more information about him. Another thing that I can't find myself agreeing with is these people who excuse his behavior by saying, oh, he's depressed. That's not an excuse. That's not a valid reason for him to be treating people in a horrible way. People even use that to validate him taking forever with this game. They're like, well, he's depressed. He's going to take long. I have a friend who has PTSD and she has social anxiety disorder. She has a child. She has to put up with a lot of things and put herself in a lot of positions that she don't want. I remember one time we were at a parade. She took her daughter to, and she had me there as her support. She was sitting down on the ground, and she was about to catch a nervous breakdown. I went to check up on her, and she told me she was going to be okay. She told me that she's gonna tolerate it because she wanted her daughter to have a normal childhood. She didn't want what was happening to her to interfere with her daughter. She didn't want to hinder her daughter's childhood. And I'm not in any way saying that mental illnesses are a hindrance, and she wasn't saying that either. But she knows that if she was to just not do anything, break down, and not bring her daughter anywhere because she either was depressed or didn't want to go by people, it was going to have a negative impact on her daughter. Her daughter is 4 years old. It's not like she's a teenager or anything that could go out with her friends, and I'm not always there to go pick up her daughter to go to different places. So sometimes she just has to tolerate different things and do different things regardless of not liking it or not. So even if YandereDev is depressed, that does not justify his reasons to be lazy, taking extremely long with the game, or to be mean to people that are or were his fans. And I really wish people would just stop using it as an excuse. Thank you for looking at my follow-up video. If you want to know more of my opinion and you haven't seen my first video, YandereDev drama, please check on my YandereDev drama video to see more of how I feel about YandereDev. Thank you.